The mid position, it sucks. We need to try and fill 1, 2, if you can fill in 3 of those spots, even better, but it is an absolute crapshoot at the moment, and I wish you all the best of luck in filling it. I'm going to go through all the options today and try to help you make a decision on what you should do in your squad here. Best way to do it, guys, is go to the filters section there, go to middle and select show players with an available status only, and that'll get you there. In the people squad here, we have Fisher Harris and also Hopgood, who'll be able to go into that middle position for us, and I doubt we're going to be filling another spot there. Just going to go through the footystatistics.com for all of the potential options in that squad as well. But we'll go down the line and talk about guys when they pop up. So we've got Butcher there as our third most expensive middle if you don't currently own Hopgood. So it goes Hopgood, Madison, Sorensen, and Butcher. Let's talk about Nat while we're here. Dual position, 695k, pretty high break even. Is he a keeper? That's probably the question you have to ask yourself if you're looking at all of these guys. The last thing you want to do, especially with low trades, is bringing a mid-range guy in now who then is not going to be able to play long term for you in your squad. Like, are they going to stay in that team? Are you going to be playing 17? A player in the 17 like Nat Butcher likely is going to be close to a keeper level player. The issue here is that last couple of games before this 64, he went 45 and 38. He had a 57 before that, a 45, and obviously an 82 in there as well. So overall, the average of 52.7 says that he's pretty close to a keeper with the middle and edge dual, which is obviously nice. He's playing in the front row this week, so that's not super exciting. We can filter it by his prop scores there. He has a 73-minute game at prop for 59 and a 51-minute game for 21, which is not ideal. Similar to that in the lock position, he has a 47-minute average for 43 points. So you could get anywhere from the 40s up to the mid 50s, I'd say, for Nat. So not super exciting, to be honest, in the prop position. Does he move back to the edge? Does Tilly play well and keep it? There's a lot of question marks for Nat, and if you brought him in last week, it ended up working pretty well for you. But is that going to happen longer term? I'm not sure. He can be someone that's going to be fairly frustrating, has 1 bye left in 19. So he gets to play 16 and 17 for you, which will be important. But yeah, you can make a decision on that one yourself. The second most expensive guy to pick up is Ryan Madison. He has a very high break even in the 70s there after his lowest score of 39 and a 50 the 2 games before he got injured. He comes back fairly early, so a 4-week return from his calf injury, which is about the normal there. The question mark here is him at 5'8", so he's the mid and the edge dual as well. The high break even, he's definitely a keeper, so that's probably the big tick there. You've got Hopgood and Madison out of these guys that I think are the clear keepers, and then everyone else from there, it's a bit touch and go. Sorensen, who's the next guy on our list, you could potentially have him as a keeper, but these guys, are definites in Madison there. Even with his injury-affected game, he's averaging 56 at the moment, which would have been about a 58 before that. Him at 6 isn't ideal, as I said in the team list video. I think the tackle numbers will sit around the mid-20s to 30, and run meters wouldn't go any higher than what they are currently, anywhere between 110 and about that 250 mark in that Titans game in round 10. So tackle breaks, offloads, I think are all going to be there like normal. Potentially has a try assist or a try in his game, which he hasn't been able to have yet. But yeah, it's definitely a risk with Maddo. He could also get changed into the second row or into the middle on game day if Lane happens to get a spot on an edge, or whatever they decide to do with someone like Bryce Cartwright could come into and play 6 instead of Madison, which I definitely think is a chance as well. So Maddo, probably him and Hopgood, the only keepers there as solid options for you. Speaking about Sorensen, the next guy on the list, obviously a big score on the weekend with his 67 to 59 minute seed. Played 3 80-minute games in a row and then went back to about where he was before in that 60 to 69-minute games there. He didn't score a bunch of scores above 50, but this one here absolutely dominated with 5 offloads, 3 tackle breaks there, and massive run meters against the Roosters. Games upcoming, he has Cowboys, Knights, and Melbourne, so it's solid. They don't have a bye until 19, again, which is good. You get 16 and 17 out of Scotty. All 3 of these guys, the dual position. Scotty's the cheapest. Probably has probably see him as a similar option to Nat Butcher. Slightly more expensive, to be honest, but a little bit more. I suppose a little bit more, we know exactly where he's going to be playing. But then you could say that about Nat. He's majority of the time plays on an edge and he's covering middle with Collins, and they've dropped Lodge. So there's a few things going on there for sure. Let's go through a few of the options there. So you got Clemmer, guys. Again, is going to be okay. We'll get to him in a little bit. Josh King, who we'll focus on. I think he's near the end. So we'll get into him now while we're there. At 619k, obviously a solid score on the weekend with that try, but it wasn't looking great. The tackle numbers anyway, and made big run meters in that one, but he'd been really low apart from that. So a lot of 40s, the 32 in there. Hadn't scored big until since round 5. So I think King we can rule him out. We've got a few other options here. We'll get to Fainu. Let's go for him while we're here. To be honest, he's probably one of the better options at 285k. Just for the fact that he's the cheapest of the lot, and high chance he plays this week and next week, which is really what you want. He's not a basement price anymore. He did make sort of 30 odd K last week after he's 30, which is what you'd expected. He still has a lower break even, so he definitely could play a role this week. Likely to get moved back to the bench. I don't know why they called him to start if he's going to be back to the bench anyway. So Fainu, definitely a solid one if you want to pick him up. Just a little bit of conjecture around his spot in the team next week if we have any of the guys back. But none of them on the reserves, which means they might be another week or so away. That's Tuolangi and also Ben Trbojevic. I think he was pretty solid on that edge when he came on again in this game. Hopgood, we spoke about him, 776. Most people should have him in their side. Still missing out 23% of people in the top 5,000 don't own him. I think he's the best guy to own this week. He should be able to play big minutes like he did in round 12 and 13 and should be able to get you a good score close to that 60 mark like he has been doing, and is why I've called him pretty well a must-have across these weeks here. 15, 16, 17. He's a very important mid there, especially with DeBellin going down. So Hopgood, an important guy for the side. Fisher Harris at 512. I think we can call him a bit of a bust at the moment. All you need now is just this week. This is the week you really need him. Obviously been playing in the last bunch, but round 16, if you can get a 50 out of him or something like that, then that would be massive, but I would avoid trading him in. David Clemmer, the 645k, he keeps going down that little bit. Obviously the game on the weekend saved his price from, it's kind of been stalling between 637 and 645 now. And that 58 with a try was good, but he's been that mid 40s to low 50s guy. So look, if he can get some bigger minutes, then awesome. But 47 on the weekend shows that it's probably not going to happen. They do have Brooks out, they do have Appy out, but they've just covered that Simpkin spot on the bench with another hooker. So I don't think much changes for their side. So that's Clemmer on that one. TPJ obviously has a little bit more upside than a bunch of these guys. He scored a really big score of 74 in round 12. He got 50 and 47 the last 2 weeks. That one of them included a try. So he's not someone that I'm super keen on, but those last 3 scores are much better. He's only had the one really bad one. He had a 31 and a 15, but other than that, it's been 40 plus. So him at 601k. The buy in round 17 isn't super exciting, but the mid-edge duel again. There's a lot of these guys that just are okay without being spectacular. He's definitely one that I would look at, but a buy in round 17 kind of hurts, I think, personally. Double Tavita. Nelson, he's one of a little bit more interest, I think, at 537, as he has the potential to hit keeper level scores. He got a 64 in that one, obviously playing a lot on the right edge, which he seems to score his best at, getting big tackle break numbers there. Had 10 tackle breaks a few weeks ago and got 40 minutes for 38, so that wasn't great. But 13, 38, and 19, the 3 games before, not ideal, but all the scores before that were really, really good. He obviously caught a bit of an issue in round 10 there against the Bunnies, and since then he's been pretty bad until last week. So, look, games against Tigers, Manly, and Penrith could go okay. He's not priced anywhere very high. In about that 40 mark at the moment, so definitely has some upside in him, but would I push you towards him? Probably not, to be honest. He's definitely okay. Jason Taumalolo, first game back from a knee injury. Do you want to touch that? Personally, I don't, but I just wanted to throw him out as an option. He was scoring pretty average, to be fair, before he went down with his injury in round 6, and then he ended up playing round 7, and then left from there. So 2 good scores over 50, and that's really it from him. So I think Taumalolo with a higher break even, you can leave him out as well. I just want to focus on Taniela Paseka just because he does play the next 2 big ones with 16 and 17. has been just scoring pretty rock solid there in the mid-40s. So if you need someone like that who plays the next few weeks, he's there as well. But again, not super exciting. Just wanted to go through a few of the others, just chatting down the line here. Cam McInnes is 616. Just the minutes aren't there for him. If he can get a bigger minute role at some point, that would be great, but we need him. We need it now, to be honest with you there. Alex Twal, 45 average, not super exciting. Yeah, all of these guys are in the 40s at the moment. Max King has obviously dropped down a lot, and he's should be was averaging a lot more than this before the injury came. I don't think you can look at him until he gets back to full health. Campbell Gillard at 542, again one of those guys that could go big, so you could definitely go huge this week. But then there's a high chance he just goes back to mid 40s. He's not a keeper. You'd have to use 2 trades. Cohen Hess, I'd look to avoid. He's kind of made most of his cash. Saifidi, Leah Thompson, Jordan McLean, yuck. Bullymore, yuck. Kamakamisa, he could definitely make some cash. Could definitely score a try like he did last week, but again, not exciting. Adam Elliott, again, avoiding, scoring too low. Sipley, bad score last week. Obviously, they dominated, so he didn't have to do a lot. He could definitely come back this week, but I wouldn't, bank on it. And then there's all the guys you're holding. Harrison Edwards, I was telling people just to hold him, even though he's getting 30s. He's going to do a job this week for sure. Also, guys like Granville, we'll speak about in a sec. Pole, Leota, Spencer Lenu, all just non-factors. Same with Aloye, Jack Williams, Neem, Offer, obviously coming off an injury. Do you really want to touch that? I don't think so. They've got most of their forwards back, obviously, as well. Granville, I said, is a hold. Peachy, a hold if you own him. I can't believe he's mid. Funny that one. Mid and half, and he's playing the centers. Cool. Lindsay Smith, again, you're not going to buy. And then it's McDonald, Kepi, Terrell May, yuck. Eisenhuth should probably score decent this week, but again, not exciting for 1 week. Makatoa in there, Curtis Morin, Tanoa Brown, Ogden, all guys are just too expensive to bring in for 1 week, and that's where guys like Fainu just come into play as just that 1 week option and are able to do a job for you. So it's definitely someone I'm looking at, but it looks like I'd have to trade like a keeper. So if I'm going to trade a keeper that's going to miss sort of this week and then round 19 or round 20 as well, I think that needs to be going up to a Hopgood, a Madison, a Butcher, Sorensen, these types of players there. Potentially like a Nelson Sofa-Solomona who can score big. He's shown that he's been able to do that this year. So that's probably where we're at the moment in terms of the mid section. Let me know if you have any other thoughts on a deeper dive into that, if there's anyone I've missed, but that's all the available players, and I don't see much excitement with many of them. Let me know your thoughts with Hunt out. Hamnueli gets a little bit more of an uptick, but not much with Kafusi there. They're kind of all splitting minutes. Seyfarth and stuff like that. Getting a gig on the bench isn't going to be exciting to anyone. So that's the midsection, guys. Let me know your thoughts on that one, and enjoy making your trades this week. That's for sure.